So I have been really consistent about getting a video out almost every single week this year so far, and we're now in May. And this week I didn't film because my husband and I were sick, like from Monday to now, and it's now Saturday. And I usually post my videos on Saturday. So anyway, so today I am going to film a little Q&A for you guys and answer a couple of questions. More than a couple, a few. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. First one, when did you start making art? So this is kind of a tricky question because I didn't really have a time when I just decided to start making art or being an artist. I'm someone who did art since I was little. Like I couldn't ever get enough of it. And I was always making things when I was a kid, like either out of beads or paper or digging into my parents' and grandparents' old art supplies because we have more artists in the family, or like digging up clay underneath the sandbox and then like refining it and making little clay figurines out of it when I was a kid. Like I just was always creating. So, but it was in high school that I really decided I loved art so much that I wanted to pursue it, and after high school. So did you go to art school? So I started art school, like I said, in high school. I figured out I loved it and that's what I wanted to do. So I got accepted into the fine art program at the studio art program at BYU in Utah, Brigham Young University. And I didn't end up finishing though because I moved out of state and got married and finished my degree online, a different degree because art degrees aren't really something you can do online. So I got a degree while raising kids and continued making art on my own in my spare time. Let's see. What medium do you love working with lately? I think lately it's mainly oils. Oils have had my heart since like I was 18 years old, 19. And yeah, oils, but I've also really enjoyed acrylics a lot. And it kind of depends on what I'm painting. If I'm painting like more realistic art or figures, people, portraits, I will only do that in oils. But if I'm painting florals, sometimes I enjoy acrylics instead and layering opaque layers. Anyway, so that's kind of what that is. How do you stay creative when you're tired or busy? That is a good question because as a mom with a family, like there's a lot of days when I'm tired or too busy, and there are days, a lot of days where I just don't create. And especially now, like, you know, as you get going, you try to start building more out of your art and make a little business out of it. There's a lot more to it that isn't painting or drawing. Like, for example, filming videos and posting on social media and getting an email list going, an email newsletter, and building your website. There's so much to it. So, but a lot of that involves creativity. It's just not necessarily painting. But to answer that question, how do I stay creative? I just keep coming back to painting. Like if I go for a while without doing it, like I can tell I start feeling cranky inside. and so I just have to make myself do it. Even if I am feeling tired, just do it anyway. And one of the tips for doing that is making sure you have art supplies readily available and easily accessible so that you don't have to like completely set up every time and completely take everything down. So if you have a studio space that you can use, that's a big factor in being able to just get right to it without the overwhelm of having to prep everything and then take it all down when you're done. Now I understand not everyone has the luxury of having a studio, and and so that's tough. I've been there, and I am blessed now to have a studio space that I can work in and close the door, close out little fingers that want to maybe touch the art. And so, but I have spent many years painting and creating like in any random part of the house that I can find that has good light, whether it's like a light bulb or window light. So, how do you deal with self-doubt as an artist? That is a good question and something I am still figuring out. I feel like I have a lot of self-doubt, and I don't know if it's always been this way, but I feel like it's amplified now because of social media and because of the pressures that we as artists maybe put on ourselves to be producing content as well, to put ourselves out there. If you're an artist and you don't feel that pressure, I would love to know your secret, because I do feel that pressure. And so that's one thing that kind of gets to me. But one way that I deal with it is by counteracting the negative thoughts with positive ones. So if I'm doubting myself, stop that thought in its tracks and counteract it. Another one is to stop comparing on social media, and that might mean like way less scrolling or no scrolling at all. And that could help a lot if that's kind of one of the roots of your self-doubt. So the next one is, how do you know when a piece is finished? That's another good question. For me, it always has to do with like the overall composition of the painting. If it looks like, if I feel satisfied, if I feel content when I look at it, like when I take into account all of the principles and elements of design and art, that there's like this, like, I'm satisfied feeling. And so I don't like have a checklist or anything. It's just this feeling of, oh, I can look at it and there's no specific piece in the painting that's nagging at me that tells me it needs more work. So that's how I know when a painting is finished. Let's see. What's a day in your life really like? Okay. That's kind of a hard one. I did film a day in the life video recently, and that was a lot of fun. But I did have a disclaimer at the beginning that basically said that none of my days look the same. It's really hard to have a schedule, and I think that's because of where we're at in life. Like in the phase of life we're in, we have a 3-year-old, we have an almost 10-year-old, or 3-year-olds, almost 4, almost 10-year-old, and then a 15-year-old. So we have kids in every stage. We have our oldest is finishing up her freshman year in high school, getting ready to drive, and our youngest is, still, I mean, she's potty trained, but like we're still dealing with the toddler tantrums, and then we also homeschool our second. So our days look like getting our daughter off to school, our oldest, and then homeschooling in the morning, and then we've got housework, and then I'm usually juggling my art stuff throughout the day, whether that's email or filming or editing or painting, posting on social media, and I kind of just like chink it in wherever I can. So, and then there's of course running errands, running kids to sports, and then I was going to say grocery shopping, but we do grocery delivery with Walmart Plus. This is not, I'm not an affiliate with them, but it's like, I mean, that's one way I buy back my time. It's totally worth it. So, and then cooking meals and church obligations and everything. We just have a lot going on, and every day looks different. And so I'm still trying to figure out that whole like flow. And I don't know if I'm ever going to actually maintain a steady flow in my days, and that's okay. It also changes with the seasons. So we're just about to enter summer, which we are so excited about. I'll have like this little bit of time in the mornings where I can go running early in the morning before my family wakes up, because it will be bright enough. So I'm hoping that exercise, that's another thing that will become more consistent for a little while during the summer. Let's see. Yeah. What brings you the most joy right now? I think right now, I mean, it's going to be my family. Just being able to, I think it's just our life that we have. It's the blessing that I have of being a stay-at-home mom and being able to blend like being a wife to my husband, being a mom to our kids, and then being an artist and growing my own little art business is like, as crazy as it feels at times, like it's so fulfilling. And so just our life brings me a lot of joy. It's not easy. Like we've had struggles, big ones. And there are times where I'm just like super like doubtful and afraid, but I've been really working on lately having an abundance mindset, a growth mindset, and having a lot of faith. And which leads me to my next question. Are you a Christian? Yes, I am a Christian. I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. A lot of people will know us as Mormons, but we don't go by that name because that name basically comes from the Book of Mormon, which is scripture that we have, but we are followers of Christ. And so being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints means we basically follow certain standards in our lives, like we don't smoke or drink or anything like that. And then we're very active in our church, in our community, in our area. So like I'm one of the leaders of the youth group of the young women, like the teenage girls in our area. And so we do weekly activities, and we have church every Sunday, but we have Sunday lessons with the young women every other week. And then we do a girls' camp in the summer. So my faith is a very big part of my life and a part of who I am, and my family. And it guides all of the decisions that we make in our everyday life. Let's see. Next question. Do your kids join you when you make art? Yes and no. It depends on the day, and it depends on what else is going on, and also what kind of art I'm making. So I did set up a little desk in the back of my art studio where my kids can work if they want, but often it will look like us making art down on the kitchen table together. And we're still at a point with my youngest where it can get a little bit chaotic if I'm working with like fine detailed work or certain art supplies, and if she she's still a little bit unpredictable, so I kind of have to be a little bit like choosy about what we're making and doing where. Let's see, I think we'll do two more. Second to last one. How do you deal with overwhelm? That is a good question, and also one I'm always trying to work on. I think whenever I start to feel overwhelmed, that's kind of the key telling me I need to step back a little bit and kind of go back over like the priorities that I've placed in my life and the pressures I put on myself, because I tend to put more pressure on myself than is necessary, and maybe set more deadlines for myself than I need to. My husband said to me a little while back, he's like, I'm amazed how busy you keep yourself. And I think that's a common problem for a lot of us women and a lot of us moms and maybe artists, is that we create a lot of deadlines for ourselves, maybe unnecessarily. And when I'm trying to balance a little art business with everything else going on, I'll have like a list this long of art things I need to do, whether that's for, logistical stuff for my business or projects with like collaborations with other companies, and I start to put a lot of pressure on myself. So that's when I know I need to kind of step back and reevaluate what I'm doing and kind of slow down a little bit. And I'm at that point right now. So last question. Okay. Early bird or night owl? I am a night owl, always have been. And that's partly because I get a lot of artwork done during that time, a lot of creation. And in high school, I stayed up late creating charcoal drawings because that's what I love doing, and I didn't get enough sleep. And now I sacrifice my sleep to create art and build a little art business. And I am trying to figure out that balance between working on... Hi. I'm almost done, Teddy. Okay. And so I'm trying to keep that balance between not staying up too late, but allowing myself enough time in the evenings to be able to create after the kids are asleep. So anyway, that's just a little bit about me, and if this is interesting to you guys, let me know, because I do enjoy doing these Q&As, and it's also nice for me to do on a week when I'm not able to film, actual art content. So, and if you have any more questions about like what I do, let me know down below. And yeah, have a great week. Bye.